Welcome back to the show. We are here today with Dr. Brian Fraser and the Jazz Think Trio, who will now perform live in our very own studio. As we listen to the Jazz Think Trio play, I invite all our viewers at home to think about the qualities of great leadership that the group exemplifies in their performance. Wow, Brian, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Kind of neat, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So what qualities of great leadership and teamwork did you see in that performance?
What I saw passion.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of heart in what they were doing. I saw just a little bit of mystery of fun. And, you know, it's every person on that team, it seemed like they were engaged in the process. And you could tell that even though they were all individual, yet they knew when to synchronize.
Yeah.
And you could hear the saxophone a bit more predominant, but there were times when Corey kind of stepped back and allowed each individual team member to rise.
Yeah.
And that was just amazing.
Yeah, that's great wisdom. We've done this in our Jazz Think experiences. We've done this with literally thousands of people in the last 7 years. And so we've developed an acronym for LEAD. I'm addicted to acronyms. So
okay.
We've developed this acronym for LEAD that captures the wisdom, what we call the wisdom in the room. So the wisdom that people have, because people know this stuff. I mean, people know what good leadership feels like and looks like. Mm-hmm. People know what good teamwork feels like and looks like. So part of what we try to do is simply surface that wisdom in the room, then bring it into conversation with the best of the research and reflection in leadership and teamwork, and then ask them to think through the kind of conversations they will have when they go back into the workplace that will begin to model and build momentum for that quality of leadership or teamwork that they've seen in the performance of the jazz group. So it's very practical when we talk to people about it. But the most commonly identified, and you've identified most of them, most commonly identified qualities are listening and learning. So they listen carefully to each other and they learn from that not only new things to do in the future, but where they're going to go in the next bar and the next bar and the next bar. So it's that kind of one conversation after another that becomes really important. They encourage each other, and therefore they're engaged with each other. So the E is encouragement and engagement. The A is for appreciate and align. So they're appreciating the fun they're having themselves, but they're also appreciating what the others are contributing. And that appreciation then allows them to align their efforts into a flow that creates the great performance that you heard. And then finally, they're doing it. You know, I mean, you don't just think this stuff, you have to do it. And they're delighting in it. You know, you picked up on the fun and the laughter, and one of the things we say about Bill, the guy on the guitar, Bill Weeds, is he's the happiest guy in jazz in Vancouver. And he oozes that delight every time he plays. But I mean, they're all involved in that. So, but that was a great list.
Yes, I find that if something comes from a place of passion, it naturally works extremely well. And so I think there was a question that I had in mind that as you were talking, you said something intriguing that leaders know what they need to do. So help me understand a little bit more then why do they not do it? If they know.
I think a big reason that they don't do it is fear. One of the things that I'm beginning to explore is this whole idea of moving from fear, what I call from fear to flow. There's a great theory called the inner game theory. Timothy Galway used it and John Whitmore uses it in his coaching stuff. But Whitmore was a world-class tennis coach, wrote a book called the Inner Game of Tennis, and then wrote a book called The Inner Game of Golf, which is where I plugged in, and then an inner game of work, and then a new book called The Inner Game of Stress, which is really good. But his formula is really simple. Performance is potential minus interference. Potential minus interference. And his argument is that you have to begin by focusing on the potential, on the aspiration, what it is you want to achieve, and then look at what's interfering with that. Because if you start the other way around, if you start with the problem, you're going to get stuck there. And it's in the problems that our fears come out. Fear of failure, fear of faltering, fear of freezing, fear of getting into a fight because you're passionate about it, fear of taking flight, of just running away from things. So I think in the emotional moment of making choices about how do I exercise my leadership, we talked about different styles. Taking the time to make that choice of the appropriate style of leadership to build the team the way you want to, you have to calm the fear and find the flow.
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely.
Thank you. And thanks for participating. That was great wisdom.
It was great learning for me as well as to what sort of feelings were coming up for me.
Well, thanks for playing with us. It was great.
I'd like to thank you
thanks
for being
for the
on the show.
opportunity of being here. This has been great fun.
We have to go for a break now. When we come back, we'll be chatting with Linda Naiman about creativity and teamwork.